Hi, how you doing today? My name is ChewieD23. I have a random question for you. What do you think of when you hear the term kilowatt hour?
If you're an adult, you probably think of bills, the white slips of paper from the utility company demanding payment, the last-minute rush to the mailbox to ensure your house's livability, the constant fretting over if you submitted enough to squeeze the last bit of heat from your stove, the never-ending drain on your resources in order to have some sort of entertainment in a world that cares little for you and your existence.
All valid responses. However, have you ever wondered what that term is? By that I mean, what does it represent? It's a unit, obviously, but of what?
Let's try breaking it down into its components. The term kilo is familiar, even if you live in an imperial country like Myanmar. You've probably seen kilobytes and bytes. The rest of us are pretty familiar with it, with our kilometers and kilograms. It looks like whatever this unit is, we're dealing with a larger version. The watt is harder. Other than bills, the only place you would have seen it is on light bulb boxes.
So it probably references some power, electrical energy thing. And yes, it includes the waving arm motions.
Hours, though, now we're back to familiar. Ever since you've been little, you've seen that term all over the place. It's been on road signs when you look out the bus window, or on the dashboard whenever you squirmed and crawled your way into the front seat. Now that you are in the driver's seat, it's a thing you have to be cognizant of while driving. Am I going over the speed limit? We must be dealing with some sort of rate here. That's what the kilowatt hour must be. A unit describing a large energy power electrical thing changing every hour.
This is wrong. It would be completely wrong if the idea of kilo meaning big wasn't universal.
To explain why, let's examine the relationship between the kilometer and kilometers per hour again. With apologies to Myanmar extended. As you're probably aware, if you travel over a certain distance, your speed describes how quickly you travel that distance. For example, if you're on Highway 401 in Toronto and are traveling between the 427 and the DVP, it's a very different experience going over that 24 kilometer distance moving at 100 kilometers per hour versus 50 kilometers per hour versus the usual 0.5 kilometers per hour.
What's cool about these three units is that moving between them is simple.
If you have the distance and the time, you can divide the kilometers by the hours to get the kilometers per hour. If you have the distance and the speed, you can divide the kilometers by the kilometers per hour. This would cancel the kilometers out, leaving only hours. If you have the speed and the time, you can multiply the kilometers per hour by hours. This would cause the hours to cancel out, and you're left with kilometers.
Now let's compare these units to the ones in the electrical world.
First, a point of clarification. Power and energy are not interchangeable terms. Power is the rate unit of energy, meaning energy is the same as distance and power is the same as speed. As an example, if I had 100 units of energy and my power is such that I use 50 units of energy every second, after 2 seconds I will have used all my energy. What units do we use to describe energy and power? For energy, the building block unit, i.e. the one similar to meters and grams, is called a joule. For power, it's the watt. If you notice, unlike kilometers per hour, there is no reference to an energy term or a time term. As such, when you multiply the power term and time term together, the time term doesn't go away. It stays. This results in a unit called the watt-hour. It's not watts per hour, it's watts times hour.
The kilowatt hour is a unit of energy.
How could you possibly know that? And let's be clear, my degree notwithstanding, I still remember what the classroom looked like when I was first shown this back in 2008. This unit is a nightmare. How do we solve this?
I think the solution is simple, and it comes in two parts.
The first, replace the watt with a new unit that better shows the relationship between energy and time. The second, replace the kilowatt hour with a single term unit. Perhaps this can be the watt, especially since people assume it's an energy unit anyway. However, the dirty hippie in me wants this to be a new scientist. As an example I found after a bit of Googling, Maria Telkes. She was a Hungarian scientist who focused on designing solar devices, including building the first house completely heated by solar energy. That seems like an obvious parallel to me, but perhaps there's someone more deserving.
All I know is this. Units are the most important tools to describe the world. It's a shame that one so vital to everyday life is so esoteric. I think we should change that.